The atmosphere in the studio became charged with tension as the debate heated up between Senator Rand Paul and the View hosts, led by Whoopi Goldberg. The discussion, originally centered around Paul's new book, The Case Against Socialism, quickly escalated beyond a typical book promotion. Goldberg and her co-hosts grilled Paul with tough, confrontational questions, clearly preparing for a clash rather than a casual conversation. Senator Paul, however, wasn't caught off guard. He came equipped with sharp rebuttals and unapologetic viewpoints, standing firm in his beliefs. As the debate intensified, the audience was left stunned, eyes wide and mouths agape, at the unexpected confrontation unfolding before them.
Actually, Turkey doesn't want Iran to take over everything. Israel doesn't want Iran to take over everything. And in fact, Israel actually stands up for themselves all the time.
They may end up being in a bigger war.
Let me finish. Don't interrupt.
Sonny Hostin fired the first shot, mentioning Venezuela's collapse and questioning whether socialism played a role. Without missing a beat, Rand Paul responded firmly.
We have massive taxes here, but we don't get any free stuff. We don't have free health care. Well, our public education system is a problem.
Rand Paul boldly stated, "Vote for socialism, you get socialism," prompting the audience to erupt into applause.
Yeah, the case against socialism. Bernie Sanders is no longer alone on the debate stage. It seems like we're hearing more and more about socialism. In fact, 43% of Americans think it's a good thing. You are on the complete other end of that. Tell us about this book.
The crowd's applause caught Whoopi off guard, her frustration evident in a cold, piercing stare.
Well, one of the things we learned in writing the book is a lot of people say, well, we're not for Stalin, we're not for Hitler, we're for Scandinavia. So as we were researching the book, we actually found that Bernie Sanders' form of socialism actually is unpopular and he would never get elected to anything in Denmark. In fact, the Prime Minister of Denmark, when he heard Bernie was going around saying they were socialists, says, no, we're not socialists. We have private property, a stock exchange, we have low corporate income taxes, we don't have a minimum wage. And the big difference, and this is where the big lie comes from, Bernie says we're going to give you all this free stuff, but we're only going to tax the rich people. In Scandinavia, they tax the working class, 25% sales tax, and an income tax starting at $60,000 is 60%. So really the difference between their country and our country is they do have more free stuff in Scandinavia, but they pay for it with massive taxes on the working class and the middle class.
Rand Paul stood firm, refusing to back down as the discussion shifted to the heated issue of U.S. troop withdrawals from Syria. With composure, he explained the complexities of the decision and his rationale for pulling out. However, Whoopi Goldberg interrupted him, sharply questioning, "But is that really the right approach?" Her challenge cutting through the conversation.
Hundreds of thousands of Venezuelan exiles living there. You talk a lot about Venezuela in your new book. I get a lot of political ads from the Republican Party. Donald Trump has tweeted this. Many have tweeted this. If you vote for Democrats, they will turn the United States into Venezuela. Do you think that's a fair statement to make?
Well, if you vote for a socialist, you might get socialism.
Come on, don't do that. Maduro is not a socialist. He's a corrupt, murderous thug who is starving his people.
That's not true.
That's not true? Maduro's not a thug and a murderer
it's not
who's
true.
starving his people.
Let's have a conversation here. Chavez was a socialist, and socialism was the economic system
and
of
they
Venezuela.
It's a kleptocracy. It's not socialism.
But here's the question is, they voted for socialism. They voted for, let me finish.
No, I can't let you finish. If you're going to say Maduro's not a murderous thug, I'm not letting you finish. Because that's a damn lie.
Wait, but
And I've got a bunch of neighbors and friends who know this. Don't do this to me. Don't mansplain. I'm a 47-year-old girl.
thanks to Senator Rand Paul. His new book is called The Case Against Socialism, and we'll be right back.
Remaining calm, Rand Paul responded sharply, questioning, "Should we remain in conflicts indefinitely? Should we continue putting American lives at risk without a defined goal?" He firmly rejected the notion, calling it reckless leadership. Whoopi, not backing down, retorted, "So you're just abandoning everything? What about our allies?" Rand, unshaken, countered, "Our allies, like Turkey, are stirring trouble in the region too. This isn't a black and white issue. War is complicated, but endless war is far more dangerous."
One of the things I've always supported about President Trump is actually one of the things I liked about President Obama. that we said we were overextended, that the Iraq war was a mistake. I think it's one of the reasons President Obama beat Hillary Clinton, because Hillary Clinton had supported the Iraq war. I still think the Iraq war, regime change in the Middle East, and these wars are senseless. So does President Trump. He doesn't want to get us involved in another Iraq war in Syria. If anything, Syria is more complicated. The other is a practical concern. You have 50 soldiers. They're talking about moving 50 soldiers. Who goes to war with 50 soldiers? You have 50 soldiers and tens of thousands of Turkish troops amassing. The Turks are also allies. The Free Syrian Army were our allies for 7 years. They're allied with the Turks. The Kurds have been our allies. The Kurds, in all likelihood, are now going to be allies of Assad to try to carve out a place in Syria for themselves. It's a really complicated question. I guess from my perspective, I say, any of these people out here, their kids have to go to war. War's not a chess game. People lose their limbs and people die, and I think it's the least we owe to the kids that we're going to send into this war. Why are we going to war and who are we fighting?
The heated exchange escalated quickly and Whoopi's patience snapped. She cut him off mid-sentence, shouting, "Let's go to break!" The studio fell into an eerie silence as cameras switched to commercial, leaving the audience in shocked disbelief.
But isn't there...
So,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. So, if you have allies and they are working with you and fighting with you, and 24 hours somebody wakes up and says, "Oh, we're out."
Right.
Is that the right way to do this?
I think the way we look at war is we don't look at
No. Is that the right way to do it?
Let me answer the question.
Okay.
When we decide whether or not we're sending our young people into harm's way, we should obey the Constitution, which says we should declare war and put them in a war theater. But let me finish.
Okay.
And here's the thing about it, is if you ask these people, Lindsey Graham and the Cheney war and all these warmongers that want to stay at war forever, who are we going to declare war on? They don't know who. We're going to declare war on Turkey, our ally,
Should we
the
ever
Free Syrian
walk
Army, our
out
ally?
in the middle? It's like walking
We
out.
should never be there in the first place.
That's not the question. No, that's all good.
When the show resumed, Sonny Hostin shifted the discussion to domestic issues, aiming to paint Rand Paul as someone who defends tax cuts for the wealthy. However, Rand was ready with a solid rebuttal, presenting data to back up his stance. He pointed out that the top 1% contribute 40% of income taxes, while the bottom 50% pay nothing. That's not oppression, that's fairness, he asserted. Sonny countered by asking about free healthcare and education, suggesting everyone deserves those benefits. Rand's response was blunt and factual. There's no such thing as free. He cited countries like Denmark, where Bernie Sanders draws his inspiration. The working class there faces 25% sales tax and 60% income tax. If that's what you consider free, I'd hate to see what expensive looks like.
Massive taxes here, but we don't get any free stuff. We don't have free health care. Well, our public education system is a problem.
We have a
Seems like the only people that get free stuff are the very, very wealthy.
We have a different form of taxation in our country. Ours is much more progressive. So we've taken the poor off of the rolls. They don't pay income tax anymore. Most people below $50,000 don't pay any income tax. The top 1% in our country pay 40%.
Our audience says that's not true.
Well, the IRS statistics say that the top 1% in our country pay 40% of the income tax, and that those making less than $50,000...
Donald Trump doesn't pay any income tax.
The defining moment of the show came when Whoopi declared she wasn't political, stating, "I'm not left or right, I'm just an American." Rand Paul quickly seized the opportunity, replying, "Well, Whoopi, if you're truly just an American, maybe it's time to listen to ideas that don't always fit your narrative. That's what being a real American means." The audience responded with loud, enthusiastic applause, leaving Whoopi shocked and momentarily silent.
But
we're
we're in there.
For so many years, the left agreed with me.
I am
that
neither
these
left nor right. I'm just American. I want to know, should we be taking, should we be walking out on people with this much time?
But here's the thing is, left and right have agreed in the past that regime change doesn't work. When we got rid of Hussein, we got chaos and more terrorism. When we got rid of Gaddafi, chaos and more terrorism.
But Senator,
It's
we're
incredibly
here now, though.
expensive as well.
But we're here.
We're not really here. We got 50 people. We're not
here.
doing
Yeah,
anything.
but frankly, hold on. on.
symbolic.
Hold on.
And that is why
Yeah,
it
and you
kept
tell their parents
Turkey
that.
from invading.
You tell their parents
Isn't that true?
You tell the parents of those 50 kids how great the symbolism was when a suicide bomber blows up all 50
But
kids.
didn't it
You
keep
tell them
Turkey
why-
from
no,
invading?
No,
And
I'm not.
pulling them
No, no.
gave
You tell
Turkey
their
the
parents.
green light.
You tell their
Isn't
parents
that
why
true?
they're there.
But
You
isn't
tell-
that true?
You tell their parents why they're
Isn't
there.
it true that Turkey
You
Senator
tell
not
their
How do you
Baby
feel
Senator,
about
we have
how do you feel about the
So
video that we're seeing of the
I
Kurds
find-
getting slaughtered?
I find the position of pulling out of these wars, that's a popular one, and I am there. There's a difference in having a strategy and leaving the Kurds there to die, which is where they are now. They are left there to die, and that is now, here's what I'd argue,
That's simply wrong.
the
That's
GOP's
simply wrong.
problem.
That's simply wrong in an
ISIS fighters,
accusation.
as being reported, thousands are going to escape from these prisons because the Kurds can't protect
Well, no,
themselves. Up to 70,000, according to a NATO official.
What's the people who don't like the
Is that a
policy?
safer world with
That's the
ISIS
people,
running around?
That's the people who want to stay forever. These are the same people.
I don't want to stay forever,
let
but
me
isn't
finish
there a
answering the
strategy?
question, okay? I let you talk, you let me talk. These are the same people. These are the same people that would still have us in Vietnam. These are the same people who always say, stay at war, stay at war, stay at war. It has not helped us. We've been in Afghanistan for 19 years. The same people complaining about this. The Cheneys, Lindsey Graham, you know what they say about Afghanistan? It would be precipitous to leave. We've been there 19 years. There's no mission, and I'm not
Walking
sending
out on
one more
people, but
kid.
there's more
I'm not
questions.
voting to
There's more
send one
questions.
more
Go
kid
ahead.
to
Of
Afghanistan.
breaking our word as Americans, of breaking our words to our allies, of having people who risk their lives, who've been there for years. And what message does that send internationally to other allies if we abandon them?
I think the only duty we owe and the only oath I take is to the Constitution. I didn't promise to take the country to war. I promised not to take the country to war. So did President Trump, by the way.
And I mean, that's,
So if
but
there's-
the
if there's another-
Constitution says protecting you from enemies, foreign and domestic.
Yeah.
And there's many of us who feel that this puts us in greater danger because of what it means
Yeah.
vis-a-vis ISIS. I mean, we're not alone on this planet.
And anybody who tries to make the argument that someone in Syria is a danger to our country is really not paying attention.
Oh, I think Assad is in Syria and is a hell of a danger to our country and our world.
Well, actually, if you look at the war is very complicated. So you had Assad on one side. On the other side, you had Sunni extremists, Al-Qaeda and Al-Nusra. These are the people that have been allied with the Saudi version of Islam that has been promoting Islamism and Islamist strategy around the world and jihadism. That was the side of the war we were fighting. So if that side of the war actually won, I think we actually might be in more danger. I don't like Assad, but the other people on the other side are
Can I
Sunni
ask you
extremists
something,
that I
though?
don't like either.
How close is too close for Iran to be near Israel? Because this now creates a huge vacuum where Iran wants to take over Damascus, which is what they're now going to be capable of doing, and they're going to be that much closer to Israel, which is in fact one of our closest allies. Does that concern you at all?
I think the whole situation is so confusing that none of us are really getting this right. Actually, Turkey doesn't want Iran to take over everything. Israel doesn't want Iran to take over everything. And in fact, Israel actually stands up for themselves all the time.
may end up being in a bigger
Let me
war
finish.
because of
Let me
this.
finish. Don't interrupt. So Iran gets
Hold
up
on.
against
I'm
the border.
sorry, Senator.
So
I am interrupting because
Iran comes up
you're
against the
gonna
border,
stick 'em.
and Israel
We'll be right
pushes
back.
back.
As the segment came to a close, the hosts appeared visibly shaken and drained, while Rand Paul remained composed, exuding confidence as he left the set. He had delivered a masterful performance in maintaining his stance under intense pressure. What began as a tense debate evolved into a spectacle, leaving both the hosts and audience questioning whether Rand had crossed a line or was simply voicing uncomfortable truths.
24 hours, somebody wakes up and says, oh, we're out.
Right.
Is that the right way to do this?
I think the way we look at wars, we don't look at
No. Is that the right way to do it?
This drama is heading in a dangerous direction. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content.